Before we dive into the strategies that will transform you from ignored to irresistible, it's crucial to understand the psychological mechanisms that drive avoidant behavior. Avoidants don't ignore you because they don't care. They ignore you because they care too much, and their nervous system interprets that caring as a threat to their autonomy and emotional safety. The avoidant has learned, often through childhood experiences, that emotional closeness leads to pain, disappointment, or loss of self. Their brain has developed sophisticated defense mechanisms that automatically create distance when someone becomes too important to them. This isn't conscious rejection, it's unconscious self-protection that operates below the level of their awareness. When an avoidant feels themselves becoming attached to someone, their internal alarm system activates. They begin to feel suffocated by their own feelings, threatened by their growing dependence on another person's presence, and terrified of the vulnerability that comes with genuine caring. Their response is to create distance, withdraw emotionally, and minimize the importance of the relationship to restore their sense of safety and control. This is why the more you pursue an avoidant, the further they retreat. Your pursuit confirms their unconscious belief that caring about someone leads to loss of freedom. Every text you send, every attempt to understand their behavior, every effort to get closer, triggers their flight response more intensely. You've unknowingly positioned yourself as a threat to their emotional independence. But here's the crucial insight. Avoidants are paradoxical creatures who are simultaneously attracted to what they fear most. They crave the very intimacy they run from, need the very connection they reject, and want the very love they push away. The key to making them chase you is understanding how to trigger their attraction while neutralizing their fear response. The avoidant mind is constantly calculating emotional cost-benefit ratios. When someone appears to need them, want them desperately, or depend on them for happiness, the emotional cost feels overwhelming. But when someone appears to be thriving independently while offering connection without pressure, the emotional cost feels manageable and the benefits become irresistible. Phase 1. Complete emotional withdrawal and redirection. The first phase of transformation from ignored to obsessed involves a complete and authentic withdrawal of your emotional investment in the avoidant. This isn't about playing games or manipulating their emotions. It's about genuinely redirecting your energy toward your own life and well-being. The avoidant must sense that you've truly moved beyond needing their validation or attention. This withdrawal must be comprehensive and sustained. Stop initiating contact entirely. Don't respond to their breadcrumbs with enthusiasm or gratitude. Don't check their social media or ask mutual friends about them. Most importantly, stop analyzing their behavior or trying to understand their motivations. You must become genuinely disinterested in their internal world and emotional state. The quality of your withdrawal is what makes it effective. You're not withdrawing to punish them or to get their attention. You're withdrawing because you've recognized that your emotional energy is precious and should be invested in people who can reciprocate consistently. This authentic disengagement creates a completely different energy than strategic distance. Redirect all the mental and emotional energy you are spending on the avoidant toward building an extraordinary life. Pursue goals that excite you, cultivate relationships that nourish you, and engage in activities that make you feel alive and fulfilled. The goal is to become so absorbed in your own growth and happiness that the avoidant becomes peripheral to your daily thoughts and concerns. This redirection must be visible to the avoidant in subtle ways. They should sense through your energy, your social media presence, and your interactions with mutual friends that you've moved beyond needing them. They must recognize that you're not sitting around waiting for their attention or validation. You're building something beautiful with or without their participation. The withdrawal phase is complete when you've reached a place of genuine indifference about their behavior and choices. You're not angry, hurt, or hopeful. You're simply neutral about their place in your life. This authentic indifference is magnetic to avoidance because it represents the emotional independence they've always claimed to value but rarely encounter in people who once pursued them. Phase 2. Becoming mysteriously unavailable. Once you've achieved genuine emotional withdrawal, the second phase involves becoming mysteriously unavailable in ways that trigger the avoidant's curiosity and competitive instincts. This isn't about being rude or dismissive, it's about being authentically busy with a life that's so fulfilling that you have limited availability for people who aren't adding significant value. When the avoidant does reach out, and they will, because your withdrawal will eventually trigger their own attachment anxiety, your responses should be friendly but brief, warm but distant, polite but unengaged. You're not giving them the emotional reaction they expect, whether positive or negative. You're treating them like one of many people in your life rather than someone special who deserves priority attention. This unavailability must be backed by real circumstances rather than fabricated excuses. You should actually be too busy pursuing meaningful goals to drop everything for their sporadic attention. Your calendar should be full of activities, commitments, and relationships that genuinely energize you. When you say you're busy, it should be true. The mystery component comes from not explaining your unavailability or justifying your priorities. You don't owe them detailed explanations about why you can't see them immediately or why you're not available for their last-minute plans. This lack of explanation creates curiosity about what you're doing and who you're becoming. Your unavailability should also extend to emotional labor. You're no longer available to decode their mixed signals, understand their confusing behavior, or provide therapeutic support for their attachment issues. You've become someone who expects clarity, consistency, and emotional maturity from the people in your life. This mysterious unavailability is intoxicating to avoidants because it challenges their assumption that you'll always be there when they decide they want connection. They begin to realize that your attention and time have become scarce resources that must be earned rather than simply expected. Phase 3. Demonstrating your upgrade and evolution. The third phase involves showcasing the incredible person you become during your time away from their chaos. The avoidant needs to see tangible evidence that their absence from your life has allowed you to flourish rather than diminish. They must witness your upgrade and realize what they're missing. This demonstration happens through living an authentically upgraded life rather than performing improvement for their benefit. Pursue education that challenges you intellectually. Develop skills that showcase your capabilities. Travel to places that expand your worldview. Most importantly, work on yourself in ways that make you more confident, self-aware, and emotionally intelligent. Your physical presentation should reflect your internal growth. Invest in your health, style, and overall appearance in ways that make you feel confident and attractive. The avoidant should see you and think, who is this person and what happened to the person I used to know? This transformation should feel authentic rather than desperate or performed. Share your growth strategically through social media and mutual social circles. Post about your achievements, adventures, and exciting developments in your life. Let the avoidant see evidence of your evolution through photos that show you looking confident and happy, updates about your accomplishments, and glimpses of the interesting people and experiences that now fill your time. The key is that this upgrade must be real and sustainable rather than a temporary show designed to get their attention. You're not becoming a better version of yourself to win them back. You're becoming a better version of yourself because you deserve to live an extraordinary life, regardless of who's in it. Your evolution should make the avoidant question whether they ever really knew you at all. They should realize that the person they took for granted had depths, capabilities, and potential they never recognized or appreciated. This recognition creates a psychological crisis where they must confront what they actually lost. Phase 4. Creating scarcity through genuine options. The fourth phase involves demonstrating that you have genuine alternatives for companionship, romance, and emotional connection. The avoidant must realize that you're not holding a torch for them while waiting for their return. You're actively exploring other options that might be better suited to your evolved needs and standards. This isn't about making them jealous through fake relationships or exaggerated dating stories. This is about actually opening yourself to connections with people who can offer what the avoidant couldn't. Consistency, emotional availability, genuine enthusiasm for your company, and the ability to move forward rather than backward in relationships. Date people who demonstrate different attachment styles and relationship capabilities. Spend time with individuals who are excited to see you, who communicate clearly about their feelings, who make plans for the future, and who don't require detective work to understand their intentions. Let the avoidant see through social media or mutual friends that you're being pursued by quality people. The contrast should be stark and undeniable. While the avoidant was offering breadcrumbs of attention and inconsistent emotional availability, these new people are providing full meals of affection and clear commitment. The avoidant should realize that what they offered was substandard compared to what's available to you elsewhere. Your openness to new connections should be authentic rather than strategic. You're not dating other people to manipulate the avoidant's return. You're dating other people because you deserve to explore relationships with individuals who can meet your emotional needs consistently. If something develops with someone new, you're genuinely open to that possibility. This genuine exploration of alternatives is terrifying to avoidants because it threatens their assumption that they can return to you whenever they're ready. They realize that while they were maintaining distance to protect themselves, you are discovering that better treatment is available elsewhere. Phase 5. Triggering their competitive and possessive instincts. The fifth phase involves subtly triggering the avoidant's competitive nature and possessive instincts without directly pursuing them or asking for their attention. You want them to begin feeling like they need to compete for a position in your life that they once took for granted. This happens naturally when you've successfully executed the previous phases. Your withdrawal has created uncertainty about your availability. Your mysterious unavailability has generated curiosity about your priorities. Your visible upgrade has challenged their assumptions about your potential. Your genuine options have threatened their security about your continued availability. The avoidant begins to experience something they rarely feel: the fear of losing something valuable before they've properly appreciated it. They start to see you as someone who has choices rather than someone who was waiting for their scraps of attention. This shift in perception activates their pursuit instincts. Avoid giving them easy access to your attention or validation. When they do reach out, your responses should be pleasant but brief, interested but not eager, available but not immediately. They should sense that they are now one of many people vying for your time and energy rather than the primary focus of your romantic attention. This competitive dynamic works because avoidants often feel most attracted to people who don't need them desperately. When you demonstrate that your life is full and satisfying without their participation, it paradoxically makes them want to be part of that life. They begin to chase what they can't easily have, rather than dismissing what's freely available. The possessive instincts emerge when they realize that other people are recognizing and pursuing the value they overlooked. Seeing you being appreciated by others creates a psychological urgency to reclaim their position in your life before it's permanently filled by someone else. Phase 6. Maintaining your standards while creating opportunities. The sixth phase involves maintaining your elevated standards and boundaries while creating subtle opportunities for the avoidant to prove they've evolved enough to meet your new requirements. You're not making it easy for them to return to the old dynamic, but you're not completely closing the door either. When they do begin to pursue you, and if you've executed the previous phases correctly, they likely will, resist the urge to immediately return to old patterns. Don't drop everything to accommodate their sudden interest. Don't accept their attention gratefully as if you've been waiting for it. Instead, treat their pursuit as one option among many that you're evaluating based on its quality and consistency. Maintain the boundaries you've established during your growth period. If they want to see you, they need to make actual plans rather than expecting you to be available for last-minute hangouts. If they want to reconnect, they need to demonstrate consistency rather than expecting you to accept sporadic contact. If they want your emotional investment, they need to show they can reciprocate rather than expecting one-sided care. Your standards should reflect the person you become during your transformation. You now know what healthy communication looks like, what consistent treatment feels like, and what emotional availability means. Don't compromise these standards for someone who previously couldn't meet basic relationship requirements. Create opportunities for them to demonstrate growth without explicitly telling them what you need. Let their actions reveal whether they've developed the capacity for the kind of relationship you now require. If they haven't done the internal work necessary to love you properly, their pursuit will reveal this quickly through continued inconsistency and avoidance of deeper commitment. Understanding the psychology of obsession in avoidance. To understand why these phases create obsession, rather than just increased interest, It's important to recognize how avoidant psychology responds to scarcity and uncertainty. Avoidants are psychologically wired to want what they can't easily have and to lose interest in what's readily available. When you were pursuing them, you provided certainty about your feelings and availability. This certainty, while seemingly positive, actually triggered their avoidance because it removed the chase that keeps their interest engaged. Avoidants often mistake anxiety for attraction, uncertainty for intrigue, and scarcity for value. Your transformation from pursuer to pursued creates the exact psychological conditions that avoidants find irresistible. They begin to experience the anxiety they once created in you. They start wondering about your feelings, your availability, your interest in them. This uncertainty reactivates their attachment system in ways that consistent availability never could. The obsession develops because you've become a puzzle they can't solve, a goal they can't easily achieve, a prize they might not win. All the mental energy they once used to maintain distance is now redirected toward figuring out how to close the gap you've created. They become consumed with thoughts of you because you've made yourself genuinely unavailable rather than desperately available. This psychological shift is profound because it forces them to confront what they actually lost when they took your love for granted. They realize that their emotional unavailability didn't protect them from attachment. It just delayed the recognition of how much you meant to them until after you'd moved beyond needing their validation. The importance of authentic transformation. Throughout all these phases, the most crucial element is that your transformation must be authentic rather than performative. You can't fake the energy of someone who has genuinely moved beyond needing the avoidance validation. They can sense the difference between strategic behavior designed to manipulate their return and genuine growth that has made you less available because you've created better alternatives. Authentic transformation means you're not doing this work to get them back. You're doing it to create a life so fulfilling that their participation becomes optional rather than necessary. This energy of genuine independence and self-sufficiency is what makes you irresistible to avoidants who have spent their lives being pursued by people who needed them more than they needed themselves. The paradox is that by truly letting go of your attachment to their return, you create the exact conditions that make their return most likely. By becoming genuinely happy without them, you become the kind of person they wish they could be. By building a life they'd want to be part of, you make yourself worth pursuing rather than just worth keeping around. Why this works? The science of avoidant attraction. This transformation works because it addresses the core psychological needs and fears that drive avoidant behavior. By becoming emotionally independent, you're demonstrating the very quality avoidants find most attractive. By creating scarcity around your attention, you're triggering their competitive instincts. By upgrading yourself, you're challenging their assumptions about your value and potential. Most importantly, by maintaining your standards and boundaries, you're proving that love doesn't have to feel suffocating or controlling. You're showing them that someone can care about them without trying to possess or change them, that intimacy can coexist with independence, that commitment doesn't require the sacrifice of autonomy. This combination of qualities, independence, scarcity, growth, options, and boundaries, creates the perfect psychological storm that overrides the avoidant's usual defense mechanisms. They find themselves pursuing someone who embodies everything they've claimed to want, but never expected to find in someone who once loved them so openly. The transformation from ignored to obsessed happens because you've essentially become a different person, someone worthy of pursuit rather than someone grateful for scraps. You've evolved from someone trying to earn their love to someone they need to earn the right to love. This role reversal is both uncomfortable and irresistible to avoidants who have never experienced this dynamic before. Remember, the goal isn't just to make them chase you, it's to become someone worth chasing, someone who won't accept poor treatment, and someone who knows their value regardless of who recognizes it. Whether the avoidant ultimately proves capable of the love you deserve is secondary to the fact that you've become someone who deserves nothing less than extraordinary love.